Rugby League on Sky Sports in association with Stan James, the sports bookmaker, whatever your sport.
"12 months ago and England A lifted the European Nations Cup. A jubilant team had brushed the French aside. How many of John Keir's men would take the step to full international honours? Now England are under the stewardship of Salford coach Carl Harrison, a tough taskmaster who's built his side largely in his own image. And no one epitomises that more than his skipper, Rob Parker of Bradford, who has many of the Harrison qualities. And can Mark Calderwood maintain a remarkable record? He's grabbed a hat-trick of tries in his last 3 internationals, including last year's final when he actually got 4. It's Darryl Powell's return to the front line, in the middle of a 3-year sabbatical from coaching, but he's leading the Irish. Phil Cantillon is the top try scorer for them, a try against Wales, and 4 in last week's defeat of the Scots. And they've produced something of an international record holder in Pat Wisner, 3 drop goals against the Welsh in just 5 minutes. Big Barry McDermott is as proud an Irishman as they come. The Leeds prop is a grand final winner. And along with Paul Southern, forms the only link with the World Cup for Ireland of 2000. So Warrington's ground stages its first international fixture, and who'll go home with the European Nations Cup? Well, England are overwhelming favourites, but don't discount the Irish. It might be the second tier of international rugby league, but national pride and a trophy is at stake. Now then, this is how the European Nations Cup has panned out this year. For the English, victories over Russia and France, and Ireland have beaten Scotland and Wales to get here for this final. And welcome to Warrington for Rugby League's European Cup final. It is the level of international player below those playing in the Tri-Nations. But in the match over the weekend against New Zealand in the Tri-Nations, there were 4 of last year's victorious England A squad who were involved for Brian Noble's squad just 24 hours ago. So, as I say, the level below the Tri-Nations, but an opportunity for some of these players here to shine. And talking of the Tri-Nations, it's a warm congratulations and welcome today to Brian Carney from the Great Britain squad, who is here with Steve-O and me for this international final, the European Nations. An Irishman, of course. Your colours, I'm sure, will be pinned firmly to the mast. We'll come on to this game in a moment. First of all, well done last night. The victory was well deserved.
Yeah, it was. I think we needed that. It was a tough game and it wasn't looking good at half time. They were 12-2 down, but the manner in which we came back in the second half, considering what happened to us the week before against Australia, you know, was a testament to what we'd done during the week, and we're all delighted with it. I'm
sure you are, and the Tri-Nations very much alive now. I mean, what does it mean to you to have gone out and beaten one of the top nations in the world?
Well, in my short international career so far, that's my first test win in 5 games. I spoke to Sean Long, and I think he said that he's been playing since '97, and I think that might have been his first win. So, you know, to get a first win under your belt is very important, and then it gives us a bit of momentum, you know, for the rest of this competition. We've got the Australians next week, but when we go in on the back of a win, we didn't want to be going on the back of a defeat and having to win the last 2 games.
No, well, the pressure would have really been on then. I mean, can you go on now and win this tournament? Because if you win next week and you win the week after, you'll go into the final, top of the group.
Yeah, you said that last night. That doesn't matter. As long as we win next week, we're in the final, and that's all that matters. The most important thing is that we get to the final and then look at it from there. So we've got 2 games in which to get to the final, and we want to do it next Saturday in JJB.
Well, all being well, you will, and you know, a terrific match last night, and congratulations and all the best for next weekend. Let's now concentrate on this game here, the European Nations final. Brian Noble has said in the newspapers this morning that there is an opportunity for some of the players on show here today to actually force their way into the Tri-Nations. Steve-O, that has to be a wonderful carrot for some of these players.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I think it's important. You know, for many, many years I've, complained to the Rugby Football League that they do not do enough for bringing the youngsters through in the international level. This, of course, is one of the many steps that they've taken forward over the last couple of years. And I think it is important as well that, you know, you've got to be embraced by the fact that Brian Noble, the Great Britain coach, will be able to sort of offer this carrot, as you say, Ed. It is important, and it's important for these guys, not only on the English side, but also on the Irish side. You know, it gives them the opportunities. OK, they may not be household names as we know them in Super League, but who knows? They could be snapped up by some of the bigger clubs, but it does give them the opportunity to make sure that they can put themselves on show. And I think they'll make a good account of themselves. Their coach, Daryl Powell, has been saying he's extremely confident that, OK, they are the underdogs. That's the Irish mascot, of course, and I don't know whether it's an overdog or an under... It's a wolfhound, is it?
Yes, they are called now the Irish Wolfhounds.
Irish Wolfhound. He's certainly got the nose just like you, Eddie, that's for sure. It's a cracker, isn't it?
I was expecting something like that. But I mean, to be fair, Brian, the Irish are here. A lot of people in this ground will say to make up the numbers and nothing more.
Yeah, well, when you look at the both sides, you're looking at the England A team being the underage team of Super League. You know, every one of those are Super League players. The Ireland team has probably got about 2 or 3 Super League players at most. So, insofar as that, yes, they will be underdogs, but they're not going to come here and just, you know, expect to get rolled over or want to get rolled over. They'll have pride. They're on television and they want to put in a good show.
I'm sure they will. I mean, realistically, what would be a good result for the Irish today? A defeat by 20 points?
You know, you really don't want to start talking about defeats being a good result at the start of a game, but and I want Ireland to win, and I'd love Ireland to win. But realistically speaking, they're going to be up against it. I would think that if they could keep England A within 15 points, 20 points, that would be a great result.
OK, well, we will see. But England's preparation for this match disrupted just as Great Britain's was 24 hours ago for the game against New Zealand. Remember, a virus swept through the British camp. Well, a similar problem apparently has swept through the England camp, and they've had to make a late change. Let's go down to the touchline, join Chris Warren for confirmation of all that.
That's correct, Eddie. Wayne Goldwyn, he's been struck down by the flu. Of course, they did train with the Great Britain squad on Wednesday, a full out-of-pose session. So some of these guys in the England team, they think they've played a part in Great Britain's magnificent win over the Kiwis last night. Rob Burrow comes off the bench. He'll start wearing the 9, so there's still plenty of strike around the dummy half area. And coming onto the bench, then we have Richard Whiting, of course, from Hull. But these guys, you talk about Ireland talking about losing by 20 points. I can tell you, talking to some of these guys, they're not even thinking about losing. They've had a great preparation, a stronger preparation perhaps than England. And considering last week's result, they came from 43 points, or rather 43 points to 10. They won 40 unanswered points in the second half against Scotland. These guys know they're here for business, and there's not a massive crowd, but a good crowd nonetheless. Healthy conditions, a little bit of rain, very soft underfoot, and the grass quite long indeed. For England, though, looking very strong indeed. As you said, there's all this experience from last year. They've seen that there is now a development path for them, and you've seen what Danny Maguire did last night. He certainly turned the match on his head, so these guys know exactly where they are going from this point forward. I spoke to both coaches earlier on. Firstly, Carl Harrison. I asked him, was it a soft preparation? Would he perhaps have liked some sterner competition leading into this final?
France is a tough game for anybody. We played their top team with a team of inexperienced players, and to concede only one try, it proves, you know, we're pretty well drilled and play some pretty fluent football.
A lot of these players in years to come will be wearing Great Britain caps. Did they take some inspiration out of the victory over the Kiwis?
Absolutely. We all watched the game together last night on a big screen at our hotel, and we're fully behind their cause. We want to progress, you know, we're building for the 2008 World Cup here. Some of these guys are the future of the GB team.
Now, you've lost your hooker. That's a major blow, or is it?
Yeah, it's a huge blow. You know, Wayne Godwin's gone really, really well in the last 2 games, but we trained against Great Britain in a session on Wednesday behind closed doors, and I think they've contaminated. We've had about 5 went down-0 yesterday, so we're down to the bare bones, to be truthful.
Daryl, it's been a great preparation for you guys. I guess it's fair to say you've been the overachievers in the tournament so far.
Yeah, well, we're really pleased with what's happened. I think that everything, both the games have been great. The players that have come in from the national competition in Ireland have done a great job for us. And the group, it's like a club side, if you like, the way they've pulled together. And it's been a fantastic 4 weeks, and we're hoping to round today off with a very positive performance.
What did you say last week against Scotland at half-time? That was a massive turnaround.
Yeah, I think the players were very honest, and I'd give them a lot of credit for what happened in the second half. They knew what was going wrong. We dropped plenty of ball, given too many penalties away, and all we had to do was retain possession. We were always confident we'd get Scotland in the back end of the second half. That's the way it turned out, and the players' honesty really helped us to turn it around.
No secret, you are massive underdogs here in Warrington. What's the feeling like in the dressing room?
Well, very positive, and looking forward to the game. Our preparation over this month has been excellent. Very professional, and the players have put a massive amount into it. So the feeling is one of anticipation, looking forward to the game. Realise that for some players it'll probably be the biggest games of their lives, and they're going to go out there, they're going to enjoy it. They play with plenty of emotion and a fair bit of smartness as well. They're a good bunch of football players and a good bunch of blokes.
Good to see Darryl Powell back in the front line of coaching, and look what it means to Barry McDermott. He is the man on his feet there, the Leeds prop forward. Darryl Powell just in the background, allowing Barry McDermott to do the talking for the time being. There is pride inside that dressing room. Maybe I did them a huge disservice by saying a defeat by 20 points would be seen as a moral victory. Let's take a peek inside the English dressing room then now and have a look what's happening there. Well, great camaraderie that Carl Harrison has brought to this squad, and they are the favourites. There is Super League from 1 to 17, Brian, in the England camp.
Absolutely. You just mentioned Barry McDermott. It's great to see Barry in there. I played with Barry in the World Cup in 2000, and to have him and Terry O'Connor in the team, it gave us a tremendous lift. And Barry's one of the best props running around in Super League, so he'll see it as a great challenge to go up against some of these younger fellas, you know, in the England A. I think, yeah, Steve-O was mentioning Andy Lynch, you know, and that will be a great tussle today.
Oh, will it ever? I mean, you know, Barry McDermott doesn't go onto the field of play just saying, well, you know, this is just an also run. He will be putting 100% into it. And there'll be one guy opposite thinking that as well, Andy Lynch. And he'll want to prove himself. You know, a lot of people over the last 2 seasons have suggested that Andy Lynch will be the Great Britain prop forward. Well, this is a golden opportunity for him. He didn't have a great season this year, but what better way than to finish off this year letting everybody know that he's capable of getting over the top of Barry McDermott. If he can do that, then he's got to be knocking on the door of international, the top Great Britain side next season.
I wonder, when we look at the two teams, I mean, maybe we're discounting Ireland's chances of forcing their way into the Great Britain lineup, but out of the England 17, all this Super League experience, who would you say is knocking on the door today? Because Brian Noble says there is a spot available.
I think you've got to look at, you know, the way that Yeaman and Briscoe, these guys are quality players. We already know what Rob Burrow can do. He'll be playing hooker today, and I think that, you know, there's a golden opportunity for them. But I think if there's one player out there that can really make a point, and that's Mark Calderwood. Now, we know that in the past, Mark has had a problem with sometimes his positional play, and also he can be a little bit dodgy when they put the high ball up to him. But I must say, this year, he seems to have improved as the games have gone on. He had the good opportunity. It wasn't an easy job, you know, in the grand final. He was marking one of the best there is, you know. You can't get any bigger than Volcano. And Mark Calderwood did a fine job. He's been playing exceptionally well for England in this competition. As we just mentioned, 3 sets of hat-tricks. Can't do much better than that. And I think he could set this game alight.
And he could then put pressure on Brian Carney and the 2-try scorer from last night, Stuart Reardon, as an outside back coming into the squad.
Well, absolutely. It's always great if you have a tier of pressure underneath you, keeping you on your toes, and I think that's what this whole competition is designed to achieve. It'd be great if the players from Ireland, England, Scotland and Wales, all those different countries, could be able to put pressure on the senior players.
Well, absolutely. We were calling this time last year for Danny Maguire to get his chance. He managed to get the chance and, of course, showed against the Kiwis what he could do. Let's take a look at the way the two sides line up here. First of all, England. They have Paul Riley at full-back, then Mark Calderwood, Kirk Yeaman, Ben Westwood and Lee Greenwood. John Wilkins, the standoff, alongside Salford-bound Luke Robinson. And the forwards, Ewan Dowes. Rob Burrow will wear 14, but he will operate as hooker for Wayne Godwin, who's gone down sick. Andy Lynch completes the front row. Rob Parker is the captain, alongside Andy Coley in the second row. And Jamie Langley, look out for a new look, I'm told today, for Jamie Langley. Jamie Langley of Bradford Bulls will be the loose forward. And on the bench, it's Richard Whiting, Earl Crabtree, Sean Briscoe and Nick Scruton. The coach is Carl Harrison. Now, the Irish Wolfhounds. It's Stuart Littler at full-back, Carl Deshenu, Martin McLaughlin, Lee Doran and Ian Dowling. It's Carl Fitzpatrick and Patrick Weissner, the drop goal expert. The forwards, David Bates, Phil Cantillon, who is the captain and hooker, Barry McDermott, Matt McConnell, Jed Corcoran and Tommy Gallagher. And the bench for Ireland is occupied by John Gallagher, Paul Darley, Declan Foy and Paul Southern. The coach, as we've seen, is Darryl Powell. The Halliwell-Jones Stadium here in Warrington, staging its first international, and the presentation party led by Richard Lewis, who's chairman of the Rugby League European Federation, Gary Hetherington, who is president of the Rugby Football League, and Dave Southern, who is chairman of the Ireland Rugby League. And there is Max, the Irish wolfhound, the mascot. Looks like he's got a biscuit or something. Having a little pre-match snack anyway is Max. And there's the Irish team, and Barry McDermott and company all hoping that this will be the moment for them. Right, next voices you will hear will be our commentators. Phil Clark and Brian Carney is going into the commentary box as well, and he will join Bill Arthur after the national anthem.
Didn't it? Good kick again from Burrow this time.
And great defence from Carl Fitzpatrick. But he can do nothing about that. Well, Lee Doran appealing that he dragged the man into touch, but the tackle had been completed according to the officials. Westwood's movement had been stopped. There's Ian Dowling, Kilkenny Wildcat and Shannon Rugby Union player, one of the homegrown players in this Irish side, and a bit of a hurler, I understand, Brian, something that you were quite good at, wasn't it? Was it hurling?
That's after a big night out.
Thank you very much. Or was it the Gaelic football?
Gaelic football I tried from time to time. Hurling was a bit too tough for me.
It must be tough then.
It's almost like a perfect training session for England this at the moment. They just get possession perfectly in the half, then they get a repeated set with a goal line dropout. You have to compliment the way they've played, though. Sometimes against an inferior opposition, you know, the game plan can go out of the window and players tend to do their own thing off the cuff, but they seem to remain within a pretty good structure.
Here's Richard Whiting. Whiting gets the ball away to Coley. The Salford man is tackled about 8 metres out. Burrow. Riley in the thick of things. He's looking for his hat-trick, poor Riley. But he's driven backwards in the tackle. 4 tackles gone. Robinson, Parker now. Parker, Robinson and Littler with the tackle on his teammate for next season.
Come in.
It's on the last, and Rob Burrow thumps the kick in, but that's way too strong. I think he was looking to get that one more laterally.
Is that about one of the first mistakes they've made in 29 minutes and about 8 seconds of the game gone? Well, I say mistake, not a perfect outcome for them.
Come here.
So Ireland just having a bit of a respite from the England pressure. Paul Darley not impressed with that tackle, wanting a penalty, I think, from Richard Freelou. Felt that Earl Crabtree had tried to slow him down.
They need a penalty. Could they not send that Irish wolfhound onto the referee and threaten him or something? Do they get aggressive, those things, Brian?
He's sitting over there with his paws over his eyes. He can't believe the score.
Four tackles gone. They're just about on the halfway line, Ireland. And Littler puts the kick in. And it's Richard Whiting who falls on the ball. And then Tommy Gallagher falls on Richard Whiting. Now here's Rob Parker. Just getting a little bit feisty, the Irish side at the moment. Langley.
I think he's been perhaps one of England's best in the first half now, Jamie Langley. I'm sure he's going to have a huge future in the game. If he continues his improvement and development as a player, he's got a massive 10 years ahead of him.
England Academy captain, of course, Jamie Langley, in that series victory against the Aussie Schoolboys a couple of years ago. Here's Richard Whiting. His move from Featherstone to Hull has really paid off for him. Had a great season at his new club. Rounding it off with an international appearance here as Robinson puts the kick in, and well positioned was Carl Fitzpatrick there.
But it seems like Groundhog Day for these Irish. They just keep getting the ball near their own line, don't they, every time they get the possession?
Well, they do, but they defended very well for the last two sets.
Littler has lost that ball. It's gone backwards again. He's a bit generous in his interpretation of that. Richard Freeleux.
Come in.
Ooh.
Littler again.
Good hit.
No.
Well, they might be 24 ahead, England, and cruising at the moment, but there's no lack of fieriness out there from either side. Here's Fitzpatrick. Darley. McLaughlin. McLaughlin is not a centre by trade, but he did well for the Irish there. Probably their best set going forwards here. Little grubber kick, and it's well dealt with. Weissner's kick, and it was Langley who tied it up for England.
I think maybe
Robinson are gliding through there. Luke Robinson needs some support. He's got it, but the ball goes behind Lee Greenwood, and then Ireland make a mess of that, and they've got the ball back fortuitously there. Well, Lee Greenwood.
Well, they've put a bit of aggression into the games, Ireland, and firstly in defence, and now when they're carrying the ball, and it seems to have lifted the spirits.
Here's Weissner. Robinson, his opposite number, with the tackle. Now then, can Ireland trouble this England defence? Here's Paul Darley. Paul Southern. Jed Corcoran. Here's Weissner. McLaughlin. Unable to go forwards there, the Irish. Cantillon now. Phil Cantillon. Another little grubber kick, and Whiting has knocked that ball forward.
Oh,
he can't believe the decision.
It's on over here.
Meanwhile, off the ball, it is just starting to hot up a little bit. Paul Darley is involved. Lee Greenwood. And I think Greenwood took exception to that challenge off the ball.
Well, it was a what was he thinking, Paul Darley?
Okay, let's get a grip, boys.
Accidental offside.
Hey,
and the penalty goes to Ireland. Well, Richard Freeleux giving both players a talking to there. I'm not sure they exactly understood what he was saying, but the touch judge intervening. Oh, and Calderwood snaps that one up. He saw it coming, and a great opportunity goes begging. Calderwood wanting to take the quick tap.
The touch judge coming on. This will be a great little talky bit. We'll just listen to what they're going to say here, Bill.
Okay. Number four, Nick. Number four. Yeah, I'm going. Yes.
Well, it's delegation. I think he's delegating responsibility.
I have to talk to you because Richard can't understand. What's happened is, I've seen you tackle the player, I've not seen the ball come out. Then you give him a foul and abusive language. coming back to me. I haven't seen it, so you can't comment. Okay?
Okay. Lee Doran is the player getting the talking to. And Richard Freelou says, shh.
He's not happy with the touch, Judge, is he?
So that penalty takes England just inside their own half. Here's Rob Parker. Well, that was a good spell for the Irish.
It was. The disappointing thing is that because Ireland haven't had possession, they panicked when they did get a chance, and they didn't once get on the. They kicked it on the third and the fourth tackles, and you really want to be getting to the fifth tackle when you get the ball. They haven't had it for 30 minutes. Once they get a chance, they panicked a bit.
Big Earl Crabtree. Oh, and does well to offload to teammates. Huddersfield teammate, England teammate Paul Riley. Riley is scragged by Tommy Gallagher. Burrow, Whiting, quick hands to Coley.
Knock on.
And Coley just trying to squeeze that pass out. The ball knocked on in the end. England maybe just taking the foot off the gas, getting a bit sloppy.
I think maybe Ireland have turned up the gas, and that aggression in defence now maybe forced a mistake. Just threw the hammer and didn't he there, Paul Daly, as he was trying to offload. In that part of the field, I don't think you can criticise Coley for trying what he thought was the right pass.
He was trying to reach Kirk Yeaman, but it's Ireland who come up with possession.
Come on.
Stuart Littler takes the tackle. Here goes Weissner. It's a good run from Patrick Weissner of Halifax. Fresh from helping his side stay in National League One at the expense of York City Knights, of course, in that qualifying final just the other week. Oh, and Cantillon then just trying to squeeze the pass away, and the ball slips from his grasp, and again Ireland concede possession. When you've had so little of it, you can hardly afford to do that.
It's a good Russian defence there from Southern. He got up quickly, knew Crabtree was coming for it.
Russian defence?
Rush in defence.
Oh, there's a knock on there. Nick Scruton just losing possession.
I think again Ireland have lifted. I don't know what sparked them into life. It was about 30 minutes into their game, and a bit of push and shove went on, and they play the ball, Brian, and all of a sudden they've upped their effort.
Well, you spoke earlier about how composed England looked, and I think Carl Harrison would be a little bit disappointed that they're not completing their sets here. You know, when you're 24 points ahead, you should just try and put the nail in the coffin, and England are trying to force the ball that bit too much.
Come in. Okay.
Littler. And opposite number Paul Riley just having a little bit of verbals after the ball had gone. McDermott. Here's Weissner. Lee Doran, the Oldham player, takes the tackle. Cantillon now. Here's McDermott. McDermott to Southern. Paul Southern, 120 plus appearances for Salford, but on his way to Swinton Lions for the new season. On the last now. Now then, what's the kick like? It's drifting wide to Carl de Chenu, and it's still on the last. Daly puts the kick in this time, and Riley takes that one comfortably. Now I think there might have been a bit of a communication breakdown there between touch judge and referee. No.
It was the best end to a set for Ireland, and you know the way they came back in the second half last week, maybe they do have that bounce back ability that they would have to amazingly to come back into this game if they could just get something like a try before half time. Something like a try, or maybe even a try, like a try. A penalty try, this is it.
No.
Now then, Richard Freelou has penalised Martin McLaughlin there, and England have another penalty. Burrow thumps it into touch, and they're on the halfway line. So a couple of minutes left in this first half, which has been satisfactory from the England point of view. 24-0 ahead, but probably the last 10-15 minutes of this first half maybe not so satisfying for Carl Harrison.
No, I want to see how they finish this. A good offload there again from Crabtree onto Scruton.
Scruton straight up the middle, but they've lost possession and it's been picked up by Stuart Littler now. So Ireland can maybe take heart from the way they've lifted their game. Here's Carl De Chenneau of the Sheffield Eagles, Dublin-born Carl De Chenneau, an East Coast Eagle in the early days of his rugby league career. Barry McDermott driving that one up to the halfway line. Cantillon now. Carl Fitzpatrick to Pat Weissner. Weissner straight up the middle. Oh, he's lost the ball. It's gone backwards and it's been picked up by Ben Westwood. Well, just finding a hint of a gap in that England defence there was Pat Weissner. The clock running down in this first half as Langley has possession. Here's Robinson, puts the kick in for Calderwood to chase. If that one sits up, oh, and Calderwood dancing on that touchline there. And the ball in the end comes to the hands of Stuart Littler as the first half comes to an end. England threatening as they have done for so much of this first half. And a satisfactory performance, particularly from Rob Burrows' perspective, because England are ahead by 24 points to 0.
Yes, 4 tries for England in that first half, but noticeably and encouragingly for the Irish, the last of the 4 tries coming in the 24th minute. So for 16 minutes, the Irish have kept England at bay. Here's the best, though, and the future for Great Britain may be a Robinson break and Burrows try. The best try of the match from little Rob Burrow. 24-0, England ahead.
To get the best results.
What an atmosphere! What a night!
Week after week.
With a double dose of Aussie Rugby League.
You need the best team.
We'll cover it every step of the way right here on Sky Sports.
Working together to bring you all the action.
On the break!
As it happens from around the globe.
He will score!
With the right people.
It's very rare that I'm biased.
In the right places.
Well, here we are on top of the Sydney Harbour Bridge.
At the right times. Tackling all the latest news and bringing you the biggest battles.
Oh, that's a big hit!
From the greatest game. Sky Sports, your rugby league channel.
And your rugby league channel is at the European Nations Cup final, England against Ireland, and a very workmanlike opening to the match by England. They ran in 4 tries in 24 minutes. They have the game by the scruff of the neck, but the Irish, they muscled up for the last 16 minutes of that first half, and they kept the English at bay. And the majority of the English team, of course, has a lot of Super League experience in it. Now, we caught a glimpse during that first half of the Great Britain coach Brian Noble watching in the stands here at Warrington today. He has moved downstairs now and he is talking here with Chris Warren.
Well, Brian, again, congratulations on a fantastic victory over the Kiwis. This match today, you enjoying what you're seeing?
Yeah, I think the quality of the English is coming through there, just on the odd breaks, but the Irish are having a dig, aren't they? They're knocking a few heads around, and it's good to relax and watch a game like this.
Still basking in yesterday's victory. I understand you've watched that match a few times already.
I don't know about basking. We've got some work to do because we play Australia again next week. We haven't got much time to rest on our laurels. We're looking forward to next week. We'll check on the health of a few players tomorrow and ease up a little bit. 2 tough test matches and see who's healthy for next week, but we really are looking forward to it.
Now, Brian, there is a 25th man position available. Is there a carrot for any one of these players to make it through to the squad to say join you for next week or beyond?
Absolutely, and that's why I'm here today. I need to have a look at them in the flesh. It's okay watching them on the television, but got to speak to the coaches and see who's doing what to who and who's played well and who's been a good squad member. So we'll be making some inquiries after the game.
Right, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
Brian Noble, Great Britain coach, his record played 2, won 1, lost 1, but the important victory against the Kiwis. And of course, part and parcel of that match was Brian Carney, who is here with us here at Warrington today. The Irish international, of course, a bit disappointed, no doubt, in the scoreline at half-time, but real dogged determination in the latter stages of that first half from the Irish.
Like you said before, the last 16 minutes are very encouraging. The opening 30-odd minutes was what we expected. We expected England to really take it to the Irish, and I didn't think they'd concede that many tries maybe, you know, so soon, but it was really, really good to see them sort of, as Brian spoke about, muscling up towards the end of the game and keeping the English out, and that's important. If we can carry that on to the second half, it'll be, you know, stand us in great stead.
I think at one stage during the first half I heard you all saying in commentary that it looked like the Irish were tiring a little bit, but they got something from somewhere to keep England out, because there could have been a danger there that the English ran riot. There
was a bit of combination. The Ireland finding a little something that they didn't have before, and England maybe, you know, getting a little bit carried away and trying to pass so they wouldn't have passed in the first minute of the game. That's something Karl Harris want them to complete sets. Even when they half, they didn't really get to the fifth tackle. They were kicking sometimes on the fourth, which when you haven't had the ball is not something you want to do. You want to try and build pressure by waiting and kicking on the fifth. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in the second half, but if they can end or start the second half like the end of the first, they'll do all right.
Well, we haven't really seen too much pressure on the English line, Steve-O, but when the Irish have come forward and have looked as though they were going to threaten, you were making the point off air in here that Carl Harrison has got this defence well and truly marshalled. He's got some good players to work with here, hasn't he?
Yeah, he certainly has, and not just field position is so important, so much so that Ireland didn't have an attack in the English half after 25 minutes. Showed you just how much this England side were in control. Good kicking game, a lot of good pressure, and this fella, you know, Riley, impressed me. A few moments before, he had a try denied, not on that occasion, and you could see that there was a huge problem in regards to keeping and moving the ball around. But Whiting, look at the step here. Okay, the defence have held off, did ever so well. That is sheer quality, and for the little offload. Superb stuff. Riley in for try number 2. They were enjoying themselves. This was the most encouraging, I would think, for Carl Harrison. The beautiful pass. Robinson, see how he just sucked in Littler, and then Robbie Burrow, we know he's got speed to burn. That was exceptional. Very, very good indeed. And then Robinson yet again working the blind side. Westwood makes the break. Could have passed on the inside, I felt. Burrow was clean there, but when you've got a man with so much speed here in Calderwood. And it looked at that point on that they were going to absolutely run away with it. But the Irish, well, they got a bit fiery, didn't they? They started getting into the face of the England's forwards, and they certainly started mixing it up a bit. A little bit of a few punches thrown, and it just seemed to unsettle the English side. It certainly lifted the Irish, and they came out strongest before the half-time break. So they'll be buoyed by that. But it's going to be fitness. Fitness will always be a factor against the Super League clubs. They should run away with it. Harrison has still got a lot to do. He's got a defensive line sorted out, but I think they've got to play more as a unit in the second half and not as individuals as we saw in the final 15 minutes.
With Brian here, let's just take a look at one of the encouraging moments of the first half for the Irish. We said they were on the back foot for a long time, Brian, but then they got into the English half. They threatened, and had they not...
Yeah, absolutely. Like, they've been under that much pressure. They really need to start getting into the English half, and this was a good period for the Irish team. Somebody like Phil Cantwell needs to get in here, but as we see, they shift the ball nicely here. And kick was probably, you know, a tackle too early again when they had a chance to build pressure. That, you know, they sort of blew it.
And almost an air shot as well.
Well, that's right.
Not a great kick.
He wouldn't be too happy with the kick now, and probably the timing of the kick as well.
OK, England in control of this European Nations final then. Remember, England, as England A last year, won the trophy at the old Wilderspool ground here in Warrington. This is a fully fledged England side that's playing here today. They have the European Nations Cup final in their pockets, but can the Irish fight back in the second half? Half-time in the European Nations Cup final in Rugby League. England 24, Ireland 0 here at brand new Halliwell Jones Stadium. 4 tries to 0. Teams are emerging for the second half. Let's rejoin commentary. Brian Carney has gone back in there alongside Phil Clark, and first we'll hear from Bill Arthur.
Well, England have beaten Russia 98-4, France 42-4 to qualify for the final. And Ireland proving a bit of a tougher prospect, and they'll have taken confidence, Phil, from the way they ended that first half, the Irish, and they could do with a similar start to this second half.
They certainly could. You said they were named after the Irish wolfhound. That's the mascot and emblem that they've had in the dressing room at half-time. Maybe, Brian, he's had a word with them, that dog that we saw, and I know the characteristics of a wolfhound, a very proud breed and one that great tenacity.
Yeah, all that, and I guess the Irish will be hoping to finish, or to start the second half the way they finished the first. It'll be important that they don't let the English get away. I think they'll be looking to get a score on the board as well. You never want to go home with a nil beside your name. So it'll be very good, interesting to see now.
Well, Ireland just watching each other for a moment as that kick-off landed deep in their own half. In the end, it was Martin McLaughlin who retrieved the ball. And then it's Carl de Chenu. 2 hat-tricks this season for the Sheffield Eagles. Oh, and Barry McDermott's gone without the ball, and that could be an expensive start to this second half, and a mistake like that right in front of your own posts.
If anything, maybe you're slightly critical of the quality of that pass. Hands to it, but it wasn't what you wanted if you're front row, and it's given England a great opportunity now to get a good start in the second half. Westwood trying to get on the outside of his man. And when England can get within 5 to 10 metres of the Irish line, they can usually get over it. Can the Irish, with a half-time rest, provide a sterner resistance?
Here comes, well, it looked like Earl Crabtree. He was the dummy runner. Whiting fires the ball out wide. Here is Sean Briscoe. Oh! And Lee Greenwood has gone without the ball. Well, that was a let-off for the Irish, and the London Bronco had a golden opportunity there. So Ireland could have been made to pay a heavy price for that early knock-on as it is. It's the Irish who have possession. Here is McDermott. This time he holds on to that ball.
Good run again from Southern there. They've made 20 metres in 2 drives and made it look relatively easy, and that's a worrying sign for England. You want a strong defence, certainly in and around the ruck to begin with. That's where you've got to start. They've let Ireland get out of trouble far too easily there, Brian.
Yeah, it's an impressive start. Barry's atoned for his earlier error. He made a great run and a very quick play of the ball, one of Barry's trademarks.
Weissner's kick, but he's disappointed with that, Pat Weissner, standing in back play because he saw that one sail straight into the hands of Lee Greenwood. The crowd appealing for a high tackle on the winger. Here is McDermott with the tackle on the young pretender Scruton. Here's big Earl Crabtree.
Do you know what he does there, Billy? Just steps to the outside of that foot. It means that you're sucking in defenders from out wide. They don't really want to get involved in that now. They've got to work harder to get back to the line, and Whiting looks to exploit those now as they're up and down on that yo-yo running.
Coley tackled by Paul Darley. Here's Paul Riley trying to spin out of the tackle. It's good defence so far from the Irish, stubborn defence, and Riley has just fumbled that, and that'll be the turnover. Well, that was clumsy, careless from the England side.
Good hit by Whiting there. He got up quickly. Maybe they've recognised the fact they don't want to allow Ireland out of that danger zone quite as easily this time. Good technique work this time, controlling that speed of the play of the ball. Robinson in there, again working from marker. That's great defence now from England. Westwood controlling.
With the aid of Luke Robinson. Let's get half-time news from Chris Warren down on the sidelines.
Well, Bill, it'll be interesting to see how Ireland finish this set. Their last set, that poor kick by Weissner, their coach will not be happy with that. The one area that Daryl Powell wanted to pick up was the kicking game. He simply said we need to pick that game up to build some pressure, and who knows what might happen. Let's not forget that last week they were down 10-3 at half-time, 40 unanswered points in the second half against Scotland to win by 43 points to 10. In the opposite camp, well, Carl Harrison was reasonably happy with the opening start to the first half. His message was stick to our script, let's not panic, get back to basic and cut out the simple errors, and the points will come.
Here come the Irish, great opportunity, but oh, the knock-on from Luke Robinson.
No, it went backwards, Bill.
It went backwards. Let's rejoin Chris.
Well, the pressure now off for England. Just back on that, Carl Harrison said just cut out the errors, get back to our script, and the points will simply come.
Sean Briscoe is on for England. Well, that was a promising position, Brian.
Yeah, clever bit of play by the Irish winger Carl Lechenu. He followed up, chased up the kick, and robbed one-on-one. Robbed Greenwood one-on-one. Very impressive, and unfortunately Ireland knocked on.
Probably the best position they've had in the entire game, I'd guess, and another knock-on from England, and Ireland are getting in their faces a bit more.
This will be really good for Ireland. The English are under more pressure than Ireland. England are going for places in the Great Britain team, places in the future of the Great Britain team. They want to put on a good show, as with Ireland, but they've got less pressure on them now, so England are starting to show a few mistakes.
Jamie Langley that time was the culprit. Uncharacteristic error from the Bradford Bulls youngster. Is Lee Doran, and Doran in a tussle with Paul Riley, and the referee will penalise, I think, the England duo. And there were two of them in there, and Paul Riley was definitely going for that ball.
Well, that's what the referee's given. Now then, I think from memory the best chance for Ireland to attack, the first tackle, they're just 25 metres from the England line. Great opportunity. Maybe they need to keep the ball alive. Some good close support plays, what they need if they can get guys like McDermott offloading the ball.
The key here is that they get to the kick. They really need to get to the kick and build pressure.
Littler takes the tackle. Just gone straight across the field. No yards gained so far. Now here goes Phil Cantillon. Pops the ball up. It's with Martin McLaughlin, and McLaughlin using his strength. We said earlier on he's not a natural centre, but he is a strong figure. Fitzpatrick to McDermott. He's another strong figure. Oh, he's a strong figure. And McDermott gets the first Irish try. Simple, but effective.
And that's why we talk about field position being so important. You get close to your opponent's line, there's usually at least one guy on your side who's powerful enough to crash over it. And there aren't many more powerful or dynamic than Barry McDermott. He's got a book out, you've said this week, called Made for Rugby. Well, it's a perfectly named book, really, when you describe Barry McDermott. He's just rugby through and through. And his timing of this run is perfect. The other thing that makes him such a dangerous player, this is a penalty that gave them the field position, is his footwork. He's able to step on Coley, doesn't know which side he's going to go, bounces off him, and crashes over the line through Paul Riley. Little bit of a show. Very often it's the head, isn't it, Brian, that sends the opponent the wrong way. You did it with Minicello last week. Barry McDermott's just done it to get Ireland on the scoreboard.
I wouldn't fancy stopping that tank near the line. That's inspirational stuff. We started off the second half with Barry knocking on. He'll have been very disappointed with that, but the kind of player he is, he comes back down the other end of the field and scores a try and gets Ireland some points on the board. That's inspirational from the big fella.
Weissner converting McDermott's try. England 24, Ireland 6. There's bite in these Wolfhounds.
They've played like the Hunters, haven't they, in the second half? They've nothing to lose, Brian says.
No, nothing to lose, all to gain.
Well, that's a little bit of a G-up for this England side. Stuart Jones, the 18th man today, is bringing the kicking tee on for Luke Robinson. And Carl Harrison will probably be disappointed with the way that the England side have just gone off the boil, having really dominated for the first half hour.
He might be, but I tell you what, I'd be thrilled with the fact that at least his side now have got a tough competitive game for another 33 minutes, and that's really what the players at this level need. Wants to see what sort of response. How do they handle this type of environment? It's a very strange one for many of them, and Ireland now looking to move the ball wide. It's a poor pass and a knock-on. At the highest level, it very often is the simple skills that let players down and separate the best from the rest. Just a poor pass there, really.
Weissner looking daggers at Carl Fitzpatrick, I think it was, who landed at him in that situation. Ball dipping down by his toes. And Ireland, having had the pressure, or built the pressure, just release it a bit, and England are back in possession and looking to reassert their authority in this game.
If they do want to reassert it, they've got to go forward first in the middle, and they do that through Riley. Good strong run by him.
Langley scragged by Lee Doran. Rob Burrow, here is Andy Lynch. And Lynch flipping that ball out, and it's Scruton who's first to react to it. And now they're just about 5 yards out. Well, he knocked that one on, and well done, Richard Frelou. The referee spotting that one.
Who are you shouting for, Bill?
I'm merely applauding his refereeing skills.
Good on you, Bill. Come on, Ireland. We'll give a special mention to Martin McLaughlin there. You know, playing out of his position in the centres, and he's been tremendous in defence and attack. He's making some great yards, and he's putting in some big shots for Ireland.
Andy Lynch has returned, as we've seen, in place of Earl Crabtree. It's Martin McLaughlin winning his 5th cap for Ireland. Currently playing for Oldham. There's Paul Darley. There is McLaughlin. He's Wigan Rugby League development as well. I think he's involved in that.
Absolutely. He's drives the minivan around the town and keep coaching the kids.
Sounds like a character from a Peter Kay film, though.
Paul Southern. Cantillon trying to hand off Scruton, but Scruton doing well. That's the 5th tackle. Oh, spectacular. Marks out of 10.
Oh, 5.5. The referee, good pressure there by Whiting. I'd give Whiting 10 out of 10.
Oh, and Greenwood's paid the price, has he? Caldaceno could get this ball. I think he's knocked it on, and it's back with Paul Riley. Well, just for a moment there, it looked as though hesitation was going to be very pricey for Lee Greenwood.
And Lee Greenwood has had problems with the last 2 kicks that have come down this side of the field. Caldaceno got the ball last time. This time he was lucky that Riley was there to assist him.
He's knocked on.
But a knock on by Calderwood.
And the touch judge has spotted that one.
Jed Corcoran again there. They're just getting busy. They hustle and bustle, and it's giving them a chance. It's a lifeline now again. Possession. The last time they got possession, 20 metres from England's line, they scored a try through Barry McDermott. Another opportunity here. The full width of the back line to attack from.
Carl Harrison looking philosophical. Darryl Powell unmoved, but really he must be very proud of the way his side have responded to the situation they found themselves in. 24-0 down and really on the rack, and they've come battling back. McConnell bravely in there. Weissner flings the ball to Johnny Gallagher, younger brother of Tommy Gallagher.
Well read by Sean Briscoe. He got up quickly, didn't he, on his man? Stopped the ball, stopped the movement of the play.
Well, there's a generation gap for you. McDermott and John Gallagher. 19 years old, John Gallagher. And here come Ireland again. Great opportunity. Oh, and Doran couldn't get the ball away. He's passed that ball off the ground, but they're still going. England appealing for a knock on there.
He's appealing for a try.
Still the Irish. They put the grubber kick in. The pressure is on England at the moment, and they're forced to hack that ball dead. It was Whiting to the rescue.
It's probably the best kick that Ireland have made in the game. Riley palms it out of play, and then eventually Whiting kicks it out of play. Here's where Ireland went close.
Oh, that should have been a penalty.
Good effort by England to hold him up and keep him in the field of play. Now then, what sort of distance will Robinson want to get on this kick? I'm sure he'll want it to be close to the halfway line. It's a disappointing kick from him.
Here goes Paul Southern. Runs straight into the tackle of Nick Scruton. Phil Cantillon, Paul Darley. Darley is tackled. Well, the possession really is stacked in Ireland's favour in this second half. Complete contrast to that first half. Oh, and then the ball from Lee Doran, and it was over the head of Ian Dowling, and the two of them just having a bit of a communication breakdown there.
Well, again, some optimism for the Irish camp there. They're finding spaces. There are opportunities if they can just find the man attacking down this end of the field. I think maybe they, perhaps if anything, Brian, in awe of the English side before the game, and now that they've played with them, they've had a feel of the ball, they've got involved in defence, their confidence has grown even though they're still behind on the scoreboard.
Absolutely, confidence will definitely have grown. They can be very proud of themselves. This first 13 minutes of the second half, they've been superb. It's unfortunate they didn't start the game like this, but whatever happens in this game, they can take tremendous pride out of their performances. You know, it's great to see that they really are giving the English a tough game now.
Briscoe straight into the tackle of McLaughlin, but he manages to get away from that one. In the end, he's nailed by Jed Corcoran. Corcoran led the Irish tackling stats in that first half, and he's again involved as the Halifax player. Robinson puts the kick in, and back there is Sheffield Eagle Carl de Chenou. Exotic surname. His father was originally from Paris and moved to Dublin, which is where Carl was born. And there's Ian Dowling. Must have thought he had the opportunity of a try just a few moments ago, but the ball went over his head. Problems for the Irish. Chris?
Well, there are problems, but there have been some encouraging signs by the Irish. They're certainly creating their own luck at the moment. No such luck for Stuart Littler. It's very unlikely he'll return what's suspected to be an AC damage to the left shoulder.
And that's why John Gallagher is operating at full-back at the moment.
Great kick, Bill.
England full-back Paul Riley retrieving that one, and surely there was an obstruction there by Nick Scruton on the chasing. I think it was Ian Dowling.
I don't know about the obstruction, just the kick was let down by the chest in the middle of the field, not pushing up to complement the guys out wide. And Riley, in his experience and coaching, taught him if he found that middle section, he could find a gap through it. England out of trouble, but again, positive signs, good defence, they're hitting and spinning. England look to offload, to keep the ball alive. Burrows now on the field. Nothing seems to be threatening this Irish defence at the moment.
Well, that could be tempting fate, because Rob Burrow is back. He caused problems in the first half for the Irish defence. Here's Andy Lynch. Lynch with Scruton on his shoulder. The big men taking on the Irish in midfield. That's the fifth tackle. Luke Robinson will hoist the kick, and they'll put John Gallagher under pressure. They are under pressure. The ball has come down. It's still in play, and a knock on by England, I think it was.
Offside.
In fact, offside. Beg your pardon. Yes, Lee Doran it was. And then it was picked up by one of his Irish teammates.
Well, again, a perfect kick from Luke Robinson. If you can get the ball just a metre short of the try line, everybody on your side's got a chance. Just walking back with the ball as you can do and take the tap penalty wherever you like. Sets England going with their first charge through Lynch. Oh, he's lost possession. Looking for the offload out the back, wasn't he, out of that hand?
Well, that's a let-off again for Ireland. Paul Darley was first to the ball there when it came loose. A little bit of frustration creeping into England now. Paul Southern getting up gingerly from that double tackle.
In the first half, England were able to contain Ireland through 3, 4, 5 tackles and make them really work hard to get out of that danger zone. But so far in the 17 minutes we've seen in the second half, they haven't had a problem bringing it away from their own line. They've kicked early in the tackle count.
And Weissner looking for a 40-20, but straight into the arms of Paul Riley, and Riley tanking back up the middle of the field, cutting a swathe through the green of Ireland there, and taking his side deep into Irish territory. And Burrow trying to duck under the tackle. Lee Greenwood keen to get involved. And a patchy start to this second half as the England winger makes a few yards there. Here's Lynch. Lynch with Robinson on his shoulder, but he goes on his own, Andy Lynch. Options either side for Rob Burrow. Whiting puts the kick in. That's going to be too strong.
Again, a let-off now for Ireland. A let-off through good defence, though. They can turn the English side. A quick tap penalty. Look at the confidence now that the Irish side, McLaughlin, that's a good 10-metre gain there on a tap 20-metre restart.
Absolutely, and we still haven't seen Phil Cantillon go. I'd like to see Phil Cantillon run a bit more from dummy half on the back of a quick play of the ball, because that's the forte of his game.
Well, exchange of pleasantries there between Paul Darley and Andy Coley. Ball meanwhile with Jed Corcoran. Here's David Bates, made a big impression last time we saw him on Sky Sports in that Halifax playoff victory. The side coming from behind, of course, to make sure of their place in National League One.
Again, it's the chase in the middle of the field that's let that kick down. He's made 20 extra metres because the guys in the middle just didn't have the energy or the enthusiasm to get up there and contain Riley.
Here's the England captain, Rob Parker.
Come in.
Langley, a Bradford Bulls combination there.
Come in.
3 tackles gone. Westwood goes down the short side. The Irish were alert to that. And they're muscling up well in defence so far are the Irish. Bates standing his ground against Parker. Again, there's numbers there. It's got to be draining, though, this, for this Irish side. What's the kick like from Luke Robinson this time? Well, he's under pressure, but it's a great chase from Calderwood. Couldn't quite take it in, but the thinking was superb. Very nearly came off, and it was that close, Mark Calderwood.
Well, what a kick under pressure too. I mean, he had 3 players coming at him. Calderwood's just ability and awareness really of where the ball's going to be is fantastic. Do you know that we've just completed now the 3rd quarter of this game, and Ireland have actually won it, haven't they? 6 points to 0, and deservedly so, really. You couldn't say that that was any luck. Their effort, endeavour and enthusiasm have given them that 6-point lead in the second half.
Daryl Powell, who of course is now in charge of player development and recruitment at the Leeds Rhinos, has really enjoyed having a hands-on job again in coaching terms with this Irish side, and he'll be pleased, really thrilled, I guess, with the way they've responded to that the situation they found themselves in.
Absolutely, it's been an exceptional first 20 minutes here at second half for Ireland. That's another huge run. I think it's Barry Mack again. That sort of lifts teams now.
Here's a first touch for Declan Foy, and then the ball's put down, and that could be expensive. It was Fitzpatrick, I think, who put the pass down, and Declan Foy, son of former Great Britain international Des Foy, is out there for the Irish, but here comes Lee Greenwood. Now a bit of desperate defence this time from the Irish. Lynch doing well to offload that ball, and it's picked up.
Well, it looked, didn't it, maybe like a knock-on from Ireland. Eventually the touch judges communicated that England will get possession here. Just a knock-on quickly before it was picked up by Calderwood. But the pride in defending their own line in this second half, outstanding by the Irish. It'll need to be good here now.
A bit of pressure coming on them now. England are mounting the pressure, and they've had a lot of ball in Ireland's territory.
And maybe this Irish defence beginning to tell in terms of tiredness. Luke Robinson very nearly exploiting the gap there. Lee Doran just managing to shut the door on him, but here is Whiting, tall, deceptive footwork from Whiting. Lynch now, he'll use his strength once more to batter his way through the Irish defence, right on their own try line now. Ewan Dowes, Burrow, it's Robinson, beg your pardon, Robinson, here's Kirk Yeaman, and Yeaman is into touch. That's great defence that time from Paul Darley and Carl de Chenou.
It's a wonderful effort, isn't it? Barry McDermott and Daryl Powell seem to have inspired this side at half-time and said, listen, come on, if we try our hardest, we've got a chance of competing with these guys. They're doing more than that. They're winning the second half. And they're probably winning one or two of the neutral fans here in the crowd today. It's a great effort from them.
Again, Martin McLaughlin, outstanding, drive him into touch there. I see him behind the desk most days in Wigan, but this is a tremendous performance from Martin McLaughlin.
Yeah, I beg his pardon, it was McLaughlin in the tackle there with Carl de Chenou. Here's Phil Cantillon, trying to use that footwork and speed as Brian has suggested. But of course England will be alert to the threat that Phil Cantillon poses, because he does have a phenomenal try-scoring record, of tries by a forward, of course. 48 in 33 games for Widnes in 2001, Phil Cantillon scored. And he scored 4 tries in Ireland's win over Scotland in this competition. Yeaman, it's good hands by England and good work from Rob Burrow. keeping this ball alive and then having to take the tackle because there was no support there for him.
Well, as time builds now, so does the pressure on this Irish defence. It seems now maybe 5, 7 minutes, or 5, 6, 7 minutes now that they've been in their own half, and I think the spirit and effort and enthusiasm can only last for so long against a side with the quality that England have here now. Offloading as the tacklers become more tired. Fatigue sets in and Parker goes through.
And Rob Parker gets that ball down. And the captain leads from the front. It's been a really determined performance from the Irish to keep England at bay, but eventually Rob Parker found a way through to get his first try for the country he's leading, and right under the nose of the referee.
And one of Andy Lynch's greatest attributes is his ability to commit defenders and then still offload the ball. Whiting it is who was supporting to him, and then the determination on Parker's face. Kyle Harrison made him captain because he said he's got tremendous character, and he showed the determination to lift his side here when they needed it and get over the line for an important try in the second half. As soon as he got the ball, he knew there was just no way that he would be stopped before he put the ball over, despite Barry McDermott trying to hold him up. Planted it down for an important score.
Well, Carl Harrison enjoyed that. That's more like it from his side. And Barry McDermott got a bang on the head in trying to stop Rob Parker's effort. And Rob Burrow with 100% success rate so far. And this should be another 2 points for England's hooker today, with the aid of the upright. And England back on course, ahead by 30 points to 6. But this Irish defence has really taken some breaking down. Credit to them for keeping England at bay so long in this second half. Rob Parker eventually finding a way through, and Barry McDermott having to leave the field looking a little bit groggy. Now then, is Ireland's effort going to really drain them? That's good defence from Declan Foy there.
He's knocked that on.
It's a bad mistake, isn't it, when you've scored a try? I'm sure they will have talked about trying to lift now for the remaining 14 minutes of the game. Put Ireland to bed, come up with another try, but they've come up with a mistake. A great chance now again for Ireland. It's what they needed. They've had to do a lot of work in defence.
Fitzpatrick goes on his own. He's got great pace, Carl Fitzpatrick, as we've seen in Super League this season for Salford. Here's Pat Weissner.
Come in.
Great position for the Irish as Cantillon flips it back inside for Matt McConnell. Cantillon. Weissner pops the ball up for David Bates, and Bates will get the ball down, and Ireland responds. Another big performance from David Bates. Much travelled, he's played in Super League with Castleford and in the town of Warrington, and he's made his mark in Warrington with a try for the Irish.
And the Irish will look back on this game and just think if they could only have manufactured more opportunities to attack the English line. They just stuck the defenders up. He waits, he puts the ball behind. I think it's Westwood, and Bates gratefully follows his fellow front row Barry McDermott in crossing the line. Weissner passed there to Bates, some suspect about whether it's forward. Bates wasn't bothered, he took it and put it over the line. Cantillon congratulates him. Great riposte by the Irish.
David Bates winning his 5th cap for this Irish side.
Great ball by Weissner there. You'll see similar tonight on NFL on Sky.
Well, Pat Weissner with the opportunity with the kicking team, but unlike the kicking team in Gridiron, Weissner has to stay on the field. He doesn't just come on, kick the goal and go off and then pocket his however many millions of dollars it is.
No, this is great. This is really good to see. 30 points to 12. We've got about 15 minutes left, I think. The Irish are really putting in a great display. let's hope we can see Barry Mack come onto the field for the last 10 minutes.
Well, doesn't seem to be too badly off Barry McDermott. Chris, what's the situation?
He's okay, Bill. He's a tough old stager, and he took a bang on the head. He was even signing some autographs in that short break. But Daryl Powell knows just how important Barry Mack is to this team. He's in fact been involved in 5 of the 8 substitutions. His experience is just paramount to their performance. Of course, he's one of only 2 players in the current team that was there in that match in the 2000 World Cup.
Signing autographs, signing books, probably flogging a few copies while he's out there as well. Here is the try scorer, David Bates. And Paul Southern, just inside their own 40 now. Here's Pat Wisner. And McConnell takes the tackle. It's the 5th, just on the halfway line. Cantillon, and Cantillon will chase his own kick and
wins a penalty.
Will win the penalty, yes.
Well, Brian Carney might have a future in coaching, Bill, because he's been just asking for Cantillon to run from that area. He thinks it would cause problems for the English. A few years' time, you'll be coaching this Irish side, Brian.
I don't know. Entertainment's manager. I'll bring the Wolfhound out again.
Well, Ben Westwood was the culprit there.
It's Terry O'Connor, apparently, that Wolfhound. They couldn't get a real one, so they got him to dress up as it.
I was wondering, he looked a bit grey.
Well, the Wolfhound will be enjoying this second half. Here is Declan Foy, winning his 3rd cap for his native country. Like I said, his dad, Des, played for Great Britain. Here come Ireland again with McLaughlin. McLaughlin using his strength. Right on England try line, and John Gallagher, losing grand finalist in the senior academy with Leeds just a few weeks ago. Cantillon almost in, and he's forced into touch, and that's good defence from the English in the corner.
Well, I think everybody in the game of rugby league knows what a danger Phil Cantillon can be there, poaching so many of his tries by just diving through a gap and scoring over the line from a metre out. But the English defence was aware of it, prevented another try in the corner, which would have been a huge disappointment for England if Ireland score again in this second half.
The big fear we had before this game started was that the English might walk away with the game, and you know, there's been some big scores, and they beat Russia by 90-odd points to 4, and they hammered France. So it's great for the you know, to give the competition respectability that they get this this tight result in this tight game. And also, you know, in the future, people won't be looking at Ireland as walkovers.
Well, this is only their 16th full international, Brian, and to think they made the Emerging Nations final in 1995, World Cup quarterfinals in 2000, European Nations Cup final now. 6 homebred players in this squad. It's all positive.
That's a big thing, Bill. You got these homebred players playing against Super League, you know, Super League regulars, and that will give them a tremendous boost. You've got guys that are going to go back to a job tomorrow morning, you know, and they get a chance to play on the big stage here, and they're not letting themselves down.
Certainly haven't in this second half. They're winning this second half, 12 points to 6 at the moment, ahead on in those respects, behind 30 points to 12 on the scoreboard, but certainly has been a big improvement from Daryl Powell's side.
They're ahead of many of the indicators too of how a team's just travelling, and that's perhaps a worry for England, but a compliment to Ireland. England have been unable to really contain them defensively, and you've got to credit the goal forward from the Irish side. Good offload there at the back, and it continues to play on.
Eventually comes to a halt as McLaughlin is tackled. Here is Pat Wisner now. Wisner fires that ball out wide. We haven't really seen the pace of Ian Dowling on that Irish left-hand side, and that was an expensive offload. Could be an expensive offload because England have got the ball back, but Ewan Dowles has put it down under pressure, the whole prop. And England will be disappointed at these handling errors in this second half.
It's a difficult game for, I mean, I'm defending the English side here, Brian, at 24 points still at half-time. A lot of these guys have been used to playing in front of 15, 20,000 crowds all year. It's a smaller crowd here today. You're easily in front. You're expected to win. Maybe to lift for that second half was difficult.
Well, that's the challenge that would have been laid at their door, you know, and as far as that goes, I don't think that they've lived up to it. I know what you're saying, that they used to play with big crowds, but they're playing against a team with 6 guys that probably, you know, they're semi-professional. Actually, most of the team probably is semi-professional, you know, and then the Irish people are really, you know, they're on the front in this second half. I think the moral victory is definitely going to go to the Irish in this game,
well,
and that's without a bit of bias.
Still 6 minutes left for England to put a bit more daylight between them and this gutsy Irish side, and Ireland have come up with the error and handed possession to England, and Nick Scruton has made good yards there for his side.
You could just tell, Bill, what an athlete he was then when he powered through that gap, the pace he's got.
Here is Whiting, oh, and that's gone forward. And disappointment there for Andy Coley.
Well, he had too many options, didn't he, Whiting? The short ball to Coley or the wider one to Yeaman. Both were the money ball, both would have provided the try, but combination of the two results in a head shake for the coach.
Well, Nick Scruton, having made such an impression a moment ago, has left to be replaced by Andy Lynch.
He's rolled back the years, Barry Mack here. I don't know if he's had this much game time for about 5 years.
It's been vintage, Barry. It's tremendous to see.
There is the 32-year-old Leeds Rhino, Ireland's longest serving player, of course, Barry McDermott. This is 10th cap. Now then, did that come off the English? Oh, Lee Doran not happy with that. No, that was Doran trying to get the ball away to Ian Dowling. And the ball sailing into touch, out of the reach of the Kilkenny Wildcat. Wildcats, Wolfhounds, it's a menagerie out there. Here comes Jamie Langley taking matters into his own hands, but Lee Greenwood is tackled by Carl de Chenou. Here's Kirk Yeaman. Burrow, Luke Robinson. Here's Dow's away to Robbie Burrow. Now an opportunity to England to finish off on a high note, is it? And Yeaman, that ball goes forward, and the crowd again disputing the decision by Richard Freilou.
I'll tell you what they can't dispute, Bill, though, the quality of the passing. It's been poor. That's poor, really, at this level.
Yeah, like the referee called tackle Dree there. I'm not sure what that means, but they've been knocking on before they've got to the kick, and that's going to be this one. Here he's back again, Tez O'Connor.
You recognise the eyes. That's what gives it away.
That's Tez.
He's a friendly hound.
Is that Ireland's last interchange?
There's another old dog. Here's Pat Weissner. Crabtree with the tackle, and Luke Robinson. Paul Southern. Cantillon has really been well shepherded by the England defence. Hasn't had an opportunity really to show his pace. McDermott trying to get that one round the corner, and it'll come back for the knock-on, because then there was an England knock-on. And it'll be England's head and feet at the scrum.
I always think you need a good try to send the crowd home happy, Brian.
Well, I'll be happy if they don't get one. If Ireland can win this second half, it'll be very impressive. With the 12-6 up as score goes in the second half.
Declan Foy with the tackle on Andy Coley, it was. Robinson back in field to Whiting, and Whiting will get the try. No! Great desperate defence from Jed Corcoran again.
Put your Union Jack back in your pocket, Bill.
Oh, here it comes, Brian. And it's Nick Scruton in the end who finds a way through. And the coach is smiling once again. hasn't had a lot to smile about in this second half. And Nick Scruton has had a good season on loan at Hull. He's deserved a good season after a real run of bad luck with injuries. And there he was, on the shoulder, in the right place, and finishing it off.
Do you know if any player deserved a try today? I thought it was Nick Scruton. I remember speaking to Matt Adamson from the Leeds Club this year. He was telling me that there isn't a player he's not found more dedicated and interested in learning and developing than Nick Scruton. And I think it continues and probably caps off a good year for him now. He can concentrate on his off-season, and then begins the pre-season training, and hopefully we see bigger and even better Nick Scruton next year.
And his club colleague, Rob Burrow. Well, he's not really able to match Wayne Godwin's 15 goals against the Russians earlier in this tournament. Early in the first half here, it looked as though England were going to have a field day, but it's been far from that. Rob Burrow kicks his 6th goal of the game, and England leads by 36 points to 12 here at the Hallowell Gun Stadium. And it's the last action of what has been a great contest. England looking as though they were going to run away with it in the first half, but Carl Harrison's side have been made to battle all the way for their victory by these Irish Wolfhounds. Tenacious performance from them. And Barry McDermott leading by example, a try for his side. David Bates the other try scorer, but Darryl Powell's side in the end outclassed. And England retaining the European Nations Cup. The England A side won it last year. Rob Parker, though, leading England to victory here, following up successes against Russia in Moscow, France in Avignon, and now victory over the Irish here in Warrington. But you have to say, they really had to battle hard for it. And the Irish Wolfhounds can be very proud of their effort here today. Tommy Gallagher shakes hands with his club colleague, and Max, well, Ireland never really had the scent of victory, but they were made, England were really made to work for victory. Well, England led to victory by Bradford's Rob Parker, and he's now with Chris Warren.
Rob, an impressive performance by your guys, particularly in the opening 20 minutes. Your thoughts on the game itself?
Yeah, I thought we played well. We started off really well because we knew, that Ireland they've got a good 20 minutes in them. I didn't probably think they were probably as fit as us, so we try and play at our pace and try and tie them down. I thought it worked.
Rugby league certainly looking healthy. I mean, a win for Great Britain, a win now for England in the space of 24 hours. There's so much depth, and you must be very proud of yourself. I mean, leading this young group.
Yeah, it was a big privilege. It was a great bunch of blokes, and I'm sure Nobby's got to pick a few of us. There's some decent lads in here I think could play definitely in Great Britain. And
what about yourself? Great Britain cap, not too far off, do you think?
Well, I'm just gonna take it by ear. Hopefully Nobby might realise, he's got some decent players here, and hopefully maybe one day I can get a call as well.
Well, good luck to you, mate, and well done. Back-to-back champions. Barry McDermott, I think we saw more game time from you today than we have in the past decade. You made such a difference to them. You must be very pleased with the spirit shown.
Yeah, it's a big game for some of these fellas, having been in the lower leagues for a good while. But a good performance. There's some fantastic talent on show for the England lads. Rob Parker might need a Great Britain cap to keep his head warm there.
Well, it may well be. You came back in the second half tremendously well. What was said at half-time?
Just a bit of self-belief, I think. Having not played on this stage for most of these lads throughout their career, it was a big step for them. But I think at the end they did themselves justice. The people of Ireland Rugby League can be proud, and they're taking very small steps in being a force.
Certainly in a healthy state, Ireland Rugby League from this point forward.
Yeah, I think so. We'll take a lot of positives. Ideally, we want to get first-generation Irish lads coming through. Ian Dowling on the wing, Carl De Cheney on the other wing, and Des Foy's lad Declan. they're the first of many. We're hoping that we can get that chain and that conveyor belt going.
You're still a very proud Irishman.
Yeah, definitely. You know, people question why I'm playing this. I think it's just nice to rub shoulders with people who play the game for the right reasons. So I'm honoured to represent Ireland and honoured to play with these lads. It's a pleasure.
Well done, Barry. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers.
And Barry McDermott rightly very proud of the Irish performance, particularly in that second half. It was 12-all actually, the score I think in the second 24 minutes of this European Nations final. They will win the trophy, but Ireland have won a lot of people's hearts here. The Irish eyes are smiling, and no one's eyes are smiling more than Brian Carney. That was a terrific display by your boys, Brian.
It was. A cricket score. No. Last 15 minutes of the first half on a high, and they dominated, I would say dominated the game for 30 minutes of the second half, and that's tremendous from these players.
They looked the better side for long periods of that second half. There's no question about that.
No, I agree wholeheartedly, and Barry summed it up right. You know, we've got some first generation Irish players playing in there. For them, it's just a tremendous result. It's tremendous for the competition and tremendous for Ireland Rugby League.
I was talking to somebody as the referees go up and pick up their commemorative awards for being involved in this final, talking to somebody while you were commentating in the second half, and they were asking why you weren't playing. I said, well, he actually had a bit of a job to do for Great Britain last night. Maybe that's a good enough excuse not to turn out, eh?
Well, one of the drugs testers was saying the same thing to me last night. He said, why aren't you playing tomorrow? I said, mate, I'm here in my Speedos just after a hard game. No, it's tremendous. The dog's getting another look in here. So
the dog's the star of the show, but there is the real star of the show, man of the match, Paul Riley, and he goes home with the man of the match award. I know that Steve-O was very impressed with him. Phil Clark, do you think as Great Britain team manager you'll have to be making any arrangements for hotel rooms for any of the players we've seen today for the next week or two?
I'll go and chat to Brian Noble after the game and he'll tell me whether that's the case, but I think to go back to the game itself, it was perhaps easier for the Irish lads to lift themselves for this game than it is for England, and maybe a difficulty we've got in terms of the further development of young English players and British players I should say, is finding a quality opposition for England to play against. Maybe in a perfect world they would go on tour to Australia or New Zealand and play against sides who are a little bit better than them at this stage. That's the only way they will develop. Maybe it was hard for them to lift, especially 24-0 at half time. I'm not making excuses for them, but if we want them to improve, they probably need to play against players who are even at a higher level.
The Irish picking up the losers' medals from Richard Lewis, who is the chairman of the Rugby League European Federation and of course executive chairman of the Rugby Football League here. And there's Barry McDermott, big smile on his face, and why shouldn't he have? A great performance from the Irish in the second half. They deserve their medal, Steve-O. They have graced this final, to be fair to them.
Yeah, they certainly have, and full credit to them. And I think that perhaps the English boys will realise that, you know, there's nothing easy in rugby league. You know, they raced to a 24-0. They worked hard. They had control of the game. But I think they've come out of this with a bitter lesson in as much that, you know, you can't expect the opposition in rugby league anywhere at what standard, and a proud moment for him.
Yes, Rob Parker. Rob Parker, the captain, hands it on to the man of the match. They've won the trophy, but as I say, Carl Harrison's men maybe have not won the hearts of everybody.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think the liquid, whatever it is that they pour into that trophy, perhaps not as sweet as what it should be, but they will learn from it. And that's the whole exercise that we're talking about. You know, a lot of people say, why did we have Great Britain yesterday and we've got England today? We often criticise them and say they're never given the opportunity for youngsters. This is a golden opportunity. And I think a lot of these players, especially the English, they will go and have a look at themselves in the mirror tomorrow and say, you know, there's a possibility that I've still got a long way to go.
It's interesting, Steve, that there are players from 8 different clubs that have formed that England side today, and that, I think, is a further improvement not only of our international prospects but of the quality of the game in this club, in this country. We've got players now from more clubs competing and maybe also learning, passing ideas and exchange of information. That's got to be good for their development next season as well. They're not just at the top 2 or 3 clubs anymore.
I agree with you there, Phil, because mostly on regards to, you know, these homebred Irish people that have been involved in this game, they will go back, they will tell all their relatives, they will tell all their fans and say, look, we have the opportunity. I mean, you know, for nearly 60 minutes, this Irish side took England apart, and they surprised them. They were tougher, they were more organised. First 30 minutes, it looked as though it was going to be a whitewash. And I think maybe, you know, they just stood back and expected them to collapse, and Ireland didn't.
They didn't, and England have won the trophy. They are the European Nations Cup final winners. But will some of those players, do you think, look in the mirror tonight and think that they have blown a big opportunity here?
Yeah, I think they will. I think a lot of them. But, you know, there was some quality out there. Let's not forget about the way that they advanced. I thought Robinson was very, very good. Burrow was busy, working hard. But the full-back, I thought Riley was absolutely superb. He worked hard, and he was one of the most dangerous players on the field of play.
They came out today to win the trophy, and ultimately they've done that. But the challenge, what I think, was not just to win the trophy, but to put in a performance as well. And maybe that's what was lacking. They won the trophy, and to that extent they succeeded. But the ultimate performance, that might have been missing to an extent, and that's where I think Ireland can take positives from and take a
Right, well, that's our view here in the studio. Let's hear the view of the England coach, Carl Harrison, now with Chris.
Well, Carl, congratulations. Not the prettiest of results, but the champagne corks are popping over your shoulder there. A win's a win. You must be pleased.
Absolutely. You know, we've done it tough, and all week we've done it tough. We've had about 5 or 6 guys who were ill. We lost John Wilkins in the first group with a broken hand, and it's been quite instrumental throughout our 3 games. But I'm really, really pleased with the guys. We've worked tough and came through with, and then with the result we required.
You said at half-time you wanted to get back to basics. You said your own words, return to the script and the points will come. I guess there was a bit too much spilt ball in the second half for that to happen.
Yeah, a lot of infringement at the play of the ball. I thought the ruck speed was very, very slow today. Maybe the interpret, you know, with the French referee, the 10 metres went probably 10 metres, and the ruck speed was very, very slow, but it's good for developing in our nations. That's what this competition's about.
I think a few people had trouble understanding the referee, but that's another story altogether. The game is certainly in good health at the moment. Which of your guys out of this team do you think knocking on the door of Great Britain?
Obviously, you know, people like Briscoe's had a good season. Paul Riley today on his showing, sensational, and Mark Calderwood and Gareth Rayner have been really, really good. And I think we're struggling at the top level in the outside backs, and them 4 guys should be knocking on the door.
Well, one of those 4 guys is right here with us, and Paul, man of the match performance. Congratulations. How do you feel?
Oh, I'm over the moon. First of all, to be, you know, a member of the England squad. My age, I thought we were all over, but you know, I'm as well. Having 3 members in the squad, I think it just shows how much as a club we've improved.
How much did it help you guys training with the Great Britain team on Wednesday this week?
Yeah, it did. I think there were a buzz around the place. At first, I thought, you know, all those England ones were, you know, like an academy side, quiet and that, but we got into it, and, you know, it helped us, and I'm sure it helped. Briscoe is a really good player. He's scored some tries this year, and he's also got young player of the season. You know, I got a chance to play today, and I scored 2 tries, and I'm just happy with my own performance.
Paul Riley, man of the match, well done.
Yeah, congratulations to Paul Riley. He certainly took the game to the Irish at times in that match, and he is worthy winner of the Man of the Match award. Well, a short break coming up now, but when we return, we have the Great Britain manager with us. We have a Great Britain just 24 hours ago. But here in Warrington, the European Nations Cup goes to England and their captain, Rob Parker. European Nations Cup belongs to England. 36-12 winners here at Warrington. Tries from Paul Riley, the man of the match, who got 2. Calderwood, Burrow, Parker and Scruton, and Rob Burrow kicked 6 goals. But the headlines probably in the second half belonging to the Irish. There are 12 points coming from Bates and McDermott with tries, and Pat Weissner kicking 2 goals. Well, we've heard from Carl Harrison. Let's now hear from the Irish coach.
Well, Daryl, a fine performance. You didn't get the cup, but a fine performance by your lads.
Yeah, I think it's something that we can be proud of. I thought England were outstanding in the first half and perhaps a little bit too good for us. We started to build a little bit of a game in the second half. We needed some possession, needed to have it in the right area of the field. But you know, over the month, I think we can be proud of what we've achieved. We started to put Ireland Rugby League on the map, and the boys can be proud of that. So was a big effort, and 12-all in the second half. We'd have to be happy with that at 24-0.
You said at half-time, didn't you? You said you must pick up the kicking game, pick up the possession, build some pressure. Well, they certainly listened to you, and how important was it having Barry Mack out there?
Yeah, he gave us a bit of punch. I thought our goal forward was much better in the second half. And Barry's he's a strong player. He got a good try for us. But I thought the whole team, just the commitment and effort and camaraderie that they've shown today in the second half and over the whole month that we've been together has been exceptional.
Well done, Darryl Powell and the Irish. And we're going to actually look at the 2 tries that they scored now in the second half from the 2 big front rowers, Bates and McDermott. And they really took it to England, didn't they?
It certainly did. And if there's one thing that a prop forward will remember, is scoring a try, especially for his club and also international. And it was a good one. There was a good build-up here. You know, they were getting confident. Wisner bringing the ball back in the inside. And look at that, that's sheer strength. You know, they just couldn't stop him. And then this one, Wisner, well, there's a little bit of doubt about this. It is slightly forward, as you will see, especially as we slow him down. But you take your luck, and Bates certainly did well, reached out, made sure that the ball-carrying arm certainly got over the line. And as I say, they were most impressive, the Irish, in that second half. They will be very, very happy indeed. And as we mentioned when they were receiving the cup, the English guys, maybe the fluid that they'll be putting inside that cup will not be as sweet as it should have been.
Well, we will see what happens at the JJB Stadium on Saturday night. We are on the last lap now of the season, and this is what's to come here on Sky Sports. The Tri-Nations, the climax of what has already been a wonderful tournament. Great Britain against Australia, Saturday at 6 o'clock, Sky Sports 1, live from Wigan. Then we go to Hull for Great Britain against New Zealand, a week on Saturday at 6 o'clock. That's also on Sky Sports 1. And the Tri-Nations final, Australia are already there. Will Great Britain be with them? 27th of November, 6 o'clock, Sky Sports 1. Best of luck, fellas, for the rest of the tournament. It's been great having you with us today. Thanks for being with us, Brian. And 2 tries on Saturday against the Australians, OK? OK, we'll see you on Saturday. Thank you for being with us here.